way. All right, we are on full power on the Starboard iSonic. This is the 67 wide, which is 113 litres. Full power on this 6.5 ATX from 0.7, like a no-cam crossover, free race style sail. And the idea of this session today is to not show you how to race an iSonic or a slalom board and get maximum speed. This is more like the first introduction to moving from a free ridey board to a free race or a slalom style kit that I'm on just now. So this is not like full power, how fast can I go and how to do it. This is more making that transition from your everyday up and down carve gybing free riding into what's this slalom thing all about, and how do I set it up and how do I ride it, because there's very different ways of approaching this style of board to riding something like the carve or the go. Here it is. So free race is like the Futura. Lots of similarities between the Futura free race and the iSonic slalom that I'm on just here. I don't really know how much it shows it, but this is fast right now. And this is full power. A lot of guys are on like 4.5. I'm on a 6.5. And I think holding it down reasonably well, as you can see from what I hope is multi-cameras on board. And a few little things I've done to help me lock it down. First little trick I've done is I put the boom up pretty high. It definitely doesn't look like it now because I'm back down, I'm locked into the water. But if I show the measurement when I'm standing up, standing still, this is well above my chin, more like nose to eye height. So very, very high. Once you get locked in like I am now, it really works. But it does make getting going a little bit trickier, and that's what I'm going to look at in a moment or two. To start with though, just getting the board going is a little bit trickier, and getting into the straps is definitely a bit trickier because they're so far out and they're so far back on the board, which is where they need to be to lock down and hold that power, but it does make it a little bit trickier to start with. So I'm just going to slow down and stop for a second or two, because the trick you need to do is not stay out the straps pushing the board and trying to keep it flat like I'd say on your classic freeride gear. I'm powered up right now and I'm dropping and pushing, but it's not really going. All I'm doing is sticking the board to the water. What I actually wanted to do is deliberately get the nose slightly up for a second, then push it over its own wave and speeding up. And the way I do that is by getting in the straps pretty early, committing to the harness, and then giving it a shove through my front foot and by dropping down low. I might even sheet out for a split second to allow me to get down super low and really drive the board to accelerate. Let's have another look at that. Let's slow it down. God, I don't want to slow down. Woo, it's fast. So powered up. They can really go when they're marginal, but they like the power. I'm close to the wind, I'm upwind. I've got the power. Front strap, back strap, kick, shove, dropping down low. That's what releases the nose of the board from the water and gets me planing on that flat tail section of the board where the water then spills off the wind fast, spills off the board fast. The other little setup tricks I've done just to help me out, make it a little bit easier. The foot straps, the front one at least, is always really far back. I quite like having it as far back as it can go. And my back one is actually kind of wide in terms of from the front hole to the back hole, is a bit wider than the usual setting, allowing me to adjust slightly forwards or backwards if needed. By that I mean if it's a bit windy like it is now, I can feel the back of the foot strap near the back of the board pressed up against my foot. If it was marginal, I could lock into a straighter stance. The other little tricks, this is a free race sail. So it's got lots of battens, it's stable, and it's got a huge leech, which allows the wind to hit me hard and spill off the sail, still accelerating hard, still got that power, but it means I don't feel overpowered as such. That's quite a nice analogy I like here, is that these boards are fast, right? They want to go fast. They haven't got resistance on the water like some of the other boards. So that feeling of being overpowered, that's when the sail wants to accelerate, but the board is saying no please, and sticks to the water. So when other people are out there, kind of overpowered, as you like, stacked on smaller sails, if you're on that free racy kit, it doesn't feel like you're overpowered. Like right now, I'm definitely powered up, rattling around in this chop and playing, but it doesn't feel like I'm overpowered. I can't not hold that sail. Whereas if I was on a calm or a code, something more free ridey or free wavy, I'd feel that board wanting to stop me and slow me down, rather than just accelerate in the gust like it does now. Fin does make a big difference on the board and how you ride it too. If I started to lose a bit of control, I could happily lose a few centimetres of fin and that would bring me back under control. Similar, if it was a bit marginal, a slightly bigger fin would give you that extra bit of lift and get you going even easier. Some more tricks I've done. If we look at my hand placement just now, my backhand has come forwards to the line and my front hand is actually controlling all the power. The reason I've done that is I've moved my lines further back so that all of the commitment in the sail closes the sail and makes me speed up. If I want to depower, all I have to do is pull my front arm ever so slightly and it opens the sail just that little bit and depowers me. I'm not saying I want my front arm bent the whole time, but I'm using that as a little bit of power control. Rather than trying to pull power on, I'm using my front hand to depower it a little bit. Now I'm on the flat water. I'm wishing right now to put the GPS on me and show you how fast this is going. But let's take it downwind in the next gust. So far I've been fairly heavy pressure on the back foot to bring me back upwind. I'm now starting to balance the pressure between the 2 feet that little bit more and trying to keep it on the plane actually because I'm in a lull. So let's take it round attack instead. I'll go for some speed on the way back in. It's a good opportunity to mention what I hope you could see on the camera there was that there's not a lot of buoyancy in the nose on these boards. The buoyancy is at the back, on the tail and under my feet, which is what allows the board to go so fast and so stable. But it does make tacking a little bit trickier. You've got to be fairly nimble, fairly quick. There we are, jump in the straps, give it a shove. You've got to be fairly nimble on your tacks, fairly quick-footed and get round, rather than hanging around on the nose. The other thing with these boards is they do and they can carve very, very well, but it is a slightly different style for it. You really need to be pressing towards the middle and even the front section of the board to allow it to really carve around the corner. If you just try and carve from the tail, it will stop you pretty quickly. And actually a similar line. You see races and Slalom racers particularly doing a big old lay down jibe. Generally the reason for that is partly to depower. Yes, that's the common answer, is it depowers the sail, but you do a lay down jibe wrong and you'll power the sail up more, making it harder. Generally the reason that you see racers doing that big lay down jibe is because they're trying to make a very tight or tight-ish turn. Whereas if you're learning how to jibe these boards, go big, go deep into that jibe, go broad as you can, and then go around the jibe after that. You'll find it a lot more stable, a lot easier to get around the jibe, rather than just stamping and cranking onto a rail to get around the corner. I think that just about sums up these boards. They're fun and they're fast, but they are very different to riding something more free-riding and forgiving. And that's not to say boards like the Carb or the Go, those are also very fast boards. But you'll get that little bit more from a Sonic if you can control it. And I suppose that's a nice way of thinking about it, is which is the faster board? Well, it's the board that you can control best. If you can't control this board, you're going to have some right problems when it starts to try and speed it up or go around a corner. So it'll be slower than going on what we could say in inverted commas is a slower board. However, I love them. This is often my teaching style equipment on lighter wind days. There's a bit marginal, I can get going and keep going on this nicely through a few of these logs you've just seen. Thanks as always for joining me, team. I will see you back on the water out here in Vasiliki very soon. Hey.